I don't think that CeeDee Lamb is angry. I haven't sensed that this is really contentious. I know that he was around the Dallas area this summer. People from the Cowboys saw him at various events. Like this is business right now, and business is good if you're a top wide receiver in the NFL. CeeDee Lamb picked a good time to have an absolute monster season. He's now sitting there on the fifth year option on his contract, taking up a good chunk of cap space right now for the Cowboys. And Justin Jefferson just topped all the other receiver deals that got done and got 4 years and 140 million. That's 35 a year. That is so far beyond where the wide receiver market was just a couple of years ago. I mean, think about this, Susie. You go back just two off seasons when Tyreek got traded to Miami and Devontae Adams went to the Raiders. Tyreek Hill, really, it's a $25 million a year deal. It's 30 on paper, but that includes a $45 million number in the last year. 25 is really the paper number. Devontae Adams, same thing. It's 28 on paper. It's really more like 22 and change. Justin Jefferson's got a legit 35. So you're talking about a 2 year span, a more than 50% increase, or roughly 50% increase in the top of the wide receiver market. CeeDee Lamb's got the leverage here. His worst case scenario is, okay, he comes back, he plays out this season. They tag him next year, he's got to play on the tag. And then the second year tag number would be borderline cost prohibitive. The Cowboys need to find a way to get something done. Their full intention is to get something done, but it's not surely about, solely about the dollars here. You got to remember, there's also the dynamics of what agents are involved, what teams are involved. Every team has different contract structures. Well, the Cowboys historically have done really long contract extensions. They've done 5, in some case 6-year extensions. Dak had all the leverage a few years back. He got a shorter deal, but most of their extensions are really long. Well, CeeDee's agent, Tory Dandy, kind of invented the 3-year wide receiver contract extension when he did Sammy Watkins years ago. And that's why, DK got a 3-year extension. Debo, I believe, was a 3-year extension. So you're going to have to close the gap here, not just in terms of the money, but also the length, the structure of this contract. Those are all things that they're working through at a time that the Cowboys also are trying to figure out how they're going to get something done with Dak Prescott. And they've got Micah Parsons waiting in line, though that's probably a 2025 problem to solve.
I just don't understand, Tom Pelissero, why they wouldn't have wanted to get this sewn up so that he could get on the plane to Oxnard, which, of course, they don't have to. They can get there however they want to. But why wouldn't they, if it's an inevitability, why wouldn't they just want to get it sewn up ahead of time?
Dak also was not on the plane, by the way, but that's because he's been in California. He's meeting them out there in Oxnard. So not concerned at this point about any sort of holdout or anything for Dak Prescott. But you raise a great point, Susie, and we talked about this quite a bit going all the way back to March. Other teams would have been proactive and tried to get these done early. I mean, even the Vikings made a strong run at Justin Jefferson last summer after year 3 because they're figuring the market's going to go up. This is our best opportunity. Let's make a big push. They made Justin Jefferson a market-setting offer last summer. He didn't take it. And in the end, even though he got hurt last season, missed all that time with the hamstring, didn't put up the numbers that CeeDee Lamb did, he still ended up getting paid in a monster way because the Vikings are paying for not just one of the best receivers in the NFL, maybe the best, but the gritty, the face of the franchise. In fact, you're moving away from Kirk Cousins. You want J.J. McCarthy to come up playing with Justin Jefferson. CeeDee Lamb didn't get any sort of substantive negotiations prior to this offseason. Neither did Dak. Neither did Mike McCarthy. Neither is Micah Parsons. The Cowboys' organizational philosophy for several years now, even though they have been a draft and develop team as opposed to a free agent or trade leaning team in recent years, has been kick the can down the road. Don't make decisions. Don't do the big deals until you have to do them. Now, is that partly because of the scars of like the Jalen Smith deal where they did that one early? They kind of had to because he was a second-round pick. He only had a 4-year rookie deal, but they did that one early. It was a long extension. And then that knee injury that he suffered with Notre Dame in the Fiesta Bowl caught up with him, and he just wasn't the same player again. So is that in the back of people's minds maybe? They did Trayvon Diggs last year early. He suffers a torn ACL. Those things shouldn't ultimately matter because you pay the best players. And if you won't, somebody else will. Modern medicine is too good. You don't worry about knee injuries and things like you used to. But, CeeDee has also been a healthy player, and he's coming off of his best season. The playoff game obviously wasn't good for anybody, and CeeDee, like a lot of guys in the Cowboys, were out of sorts, but he's going to get his money. It's a matter of when and from whom. You're absolutely right. A lot of teams would have made an offer, tried to get this done earlier, but that just is not how the Cowboys have tried to do business.
All right, from holding out to holding in, Brandon Aiyuk, what are you hearing about him?
Brandon Aiyuk is there. He is in San Francisco. We don't at this point know how much. I don't believe they've been on the practice field yet, exactly how much, if anything, he's going to do on the field. John Lynch said they expect, all their players to be out there practicing. We'll see if that's the case for Aiyuk. I think that, this is a classic case where it's been a player-driven storyline throughout the course of this offseason. You had some of the rumblings got out back before the draft. The 49ers did get calls, but they were asking for a really high price, a high first-round pick or a first-round pick and something else. Nobody was willing to offer that at that point. Once the draft passed, there really wasn't any reason for the 49ers to consider trading the guy because 2025 draft picks don't help you try to win a Super Bowl in 2024. So then every other development we've had has been Aiyuk recording a video with Jaden Daniels saying, hey, they don't want me here anymore. It's been Aiyuk posting things on Instagram. It's been Aiyuk requesting a trade. And the 49ers position really hasn't changed, which is you're a really important part of the team. We can't get anybody to replace you now. You're going to be on the team this season. They still want to work something out. There's a history of the 49ers getting deals done at the 11th hour right before the regular season begins. We'll see if it goes that direction with Brandon Aiyuk, but you also have to look in the macro here, Suzy, which is the 49ers have had a very expensive team in recent years because they've paid veterans, not just their own guys, but in free agency. You have the Brock Purdy's of the world coming up here as well. This is all part of the moving the pieces around on the chessboard here. It doesn't mean they can't get something done with Brandon Aiyuk, but with where the receiver market is going, they've got their hands full trying to work that out before the season.
Catch the Rich Eisen Show every single day on the Roku channel, 12 to 3 Eastern, for free.